Hey guys, it's your host Finn Watson, and welcome back to the Sign Report with your co-host
Finn Boyd.
Today we'll be talking about the NCAA lacrosse tournament. So starting off here, this weekend, we got a hot take. So I'll lay out the games for you. We had first bracket. We got Cornell versus U Albany, which is a huge game. Game with a lot of talent. Cornell has CJ Kirst leading the league right now. He's a super talented guy, along with William Firth and Ryan Goldstein. Finn got a chance to go to school with him last year or 2 years ago. Salisbury guys, so pretty cool to see him play. There's actually a lot of Salisbury guys in this tournament. Finn, you want to give a couple, words on him, what the guy he is, and just what your overall thoughts are on that game?
Yes, that game was obviously. I feel like Cornell was the heavy favorites going into the game. They were number one ranked team in the country. Going off of what Finn said, they have CJ Kirst, which was who was the number one overall draft pick in the PLL, and then they have Ryan Goldstein, a Salisbury graduate, who kind of I feel like surprised me that he's having this much success because he's like a small, shifty guy, but to put up those numbers as a freshman last year and just to keep going as a sophomore, it's pretty crazy. I know both him and CJ Kirst were in the Tewaaraton running, so it'll be interesting who ends up winning that.
Yeah. So they'll be playing. Or I guess that next game, who are they going to be playing again? They'll be playing Richmond, right?
Richmond, yeah.
So that's going to be a really good game. Richmond actually upset UNC. UNC was the favorite going into that. So that game was actually pretty crazy. Real good player on that team, Lucas Littlejohn. He's actually a Canadian from Whitby, Ontario, from where I'm from, putting up big numbers for Richmond, and then also UNC having, guys like Owen Duffy, Dom Petramala, guys that are so dominant on the field. UNC actually had a kid before I went to Salisbury, I went to Culver, I went to this kid named Mason Suchek. He was filthy. He was putting up some decent numbers as a rookie on that team, which was good to see. And then Penn State and Colgate. Penn State took that game, pretty close one, which was pretty expected. I think everyone kind of thought that was going to happen. And then moving on to the next game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame. Frig. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Ohio State didn't really luck out of the draw with this one. They had one of their best seasons in program history, I would say. They actually beat Notre Dame during the regular season at Notre Dame, so that was a big win, knocking off the defending champs. But I would just say Notre Dame's experience, especially with playoffs and stuff, kind of helped them win. With the Chris Kavanaugh and Jake Taylor, it's kind of unstoppable to stop those guys, and especially with their goalie playing like he's playing right now, it's kind of hard to beat them. Yeah. They have one of the best defenses in the country. I felt like it was kind of like a get-back game.
Yeah, super unfortunate that Ohio State couldn't pull that off. It was a 15-6 win for Notre Dame, kind of kicking Ohio State's butt. But Ohio State just had such a great season before that. Went 15. What was it? Only losing 2 games. 15-2. One of their best season record program history. You think they wouldn't get rewarded with their first game of the tournament with the defending champs, 2-time defending champs, but they did, and they pulled off. So. Ohio State, has a lot of talent, has a lot of returning talent. One of their stars, Canadian guy, Alex Marinieri, put up, 55 goals in 17 games he played, which was pretty unreal. Next game we had Princeton Towson, which was kind of a pretty predicted one. I think everyone knew Princeton was going to take this. They dominated them, beat them by 15. So it was a big butt kicking. In the next game, we had Syracuse versus Harvard, absolutely huge one. Syracuse, having an alum, Trey Deer on that team, he scored 2. Which was pretty cool to see. Syracuse, was actually down 8-1 in the first half. It was an insane game. Harvard just took over, and Syracuse was just deep in the hole, having to fight back the whole game. And it was crazy. Ended up going into OT with Harvard actually down a goal with 30 seconds left, came down, scores, puts it to OT. And Syracuse finishes it 12-11 in OT, and they'll be playing Princeton in the quarters. Notre Dame actually also had a Salisbury alum, Brock Berman, who actually put up a goal in that game as well. And then on the next game we had Duke versus Georgetown, absolutely huge game. Georgetown, being a school we send kids to. They have one guy that was here last year with me and Finn, Matt Rienzo, super great guy, playing playing lawn stick, midi, super good guy, and he's a close D there, gonna do big things, that game. Georgetown took the dub, so they'll be playing Maryland in the quarters. So that would be the first round there, taking place. So it's a lot to predict in the next quarterfinals. I think a lot can happen. What do you think, Finn? What do you think for your predictions for Richmond versus Cornell? What do you think is going to happen?
Obviously, I think it's going to be a somewhat close game if Richmond brings their A game, but if they don't, they're going to get blown out of the water.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of have nothing to lose. I'm sure they didn't really expect them to beat UNC because it was their first their first actual tournament win. So hopefully it's a good game, but I'm kind of banking on Cornell to win. Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say Cornell for sure. I think Richmond's sneaky. I think they do have a lot of talent, but I think Cornell, off that hot win, I think they're coming in with a lot of momentum. They're going to take it over, and then bring on the next game Penn State and Notre Dame. That's going to be a real good game. I think I really don't know who I want to take here. I kind of think I'd want to take Notre Dame. What do you think?
I think I would take Notre Dame just because I feel like they're a fun team to watch. Although Penn State hasn't really had that tournament success. They haven't won it, and I don't know how long, but I feel like either way it's a win-win. I feel like both the teams are really fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. I think I'd lean towards Notre Dame getting it off, just because talent-wise, and I think they have an overall better team. I think they can pull it off. And Syracuse Princeton, this is a massive game. I'm putting my money on Syracuse. I think Syracuse is gonna pull it off. I think Princeton's hot, but I think Syracuse, after that close game, fighting back with Harvard, I think they're gonna bring their A game. They're not gonna mess up. They're gonna play a real clean game and beat Princeton, which had a real easy Towson game. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be a good game. Again, Syracuse hasn't really had that tournament success. I feel like every season is just the same thing. They have a good regular season, then they kind of get disappointed in the playoffs. But I feel like if their attack shows up to play, both attacks are like the top offenses in the country. So I feel like it's going to be a battle of the defense and see who could stop their top players.
Yeah. And then Georgetown versus Maryland. That'll be a good one. I think Maryland will take that. I think we can see that. And then that would move on to the semis, which would be Maryland versus Syracuse. That's an unreal game. Who do you take there?
I think Maryland is going to take this one. They actually have a Salisbury grad in net, Logan McNaney, who is a Tewaaraton finalist, I think. And yeah, I just feel like Syracuse wouldn't come to play. I think Maryland has one of the best coaches in college lacrosse, so I feel like that would help. And I feel like it would just come down to coaching and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think Notre Dame loses to Cornell, and I think Cornell beats Maryland in the finals and wins the NCAA championship. I think that's a very high possibility. So today that brings it to the end of the NCAA lacrosse bracket review prediction from Finn Boyd and myself, Finn Watson. Thank you for tuning in today, and goodbye.